Chapter 105, Half Saint. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. On the platform of life and death, Feng Zilin only lost concentration for a moment, before immediately reacting. Since he lost his sword, then he chose his spear. He picked up a 3-meter-long spear from the 4th level of the weapon rack, sweeping with his spear, and sent it whistling towards Zhang Yuochen at an angle. Zhang Yuochen took a step back and avoided the metal spear. His body was as light as a leaf, floating back almost 30 meters. Wind-chasing pace. Feng Zilin sent his genuine qi into both of his legs and demonstrated human stage pacing of a superior class. It was as if both of his legs were wrapped in a hurricane, helping him catch up to Zhang Yuochen. Chasing Zhang Yuochen with only 5 meters between them, he stabbed out with his spear again. His genuine qi flowed out from his palms, through the shaft and towards the point of the spear. The tip of the metal spear emitted a bundle of fire, causing the spear to start burning, appearing like a fire snake in the air. Indeed, his genuine qi is of fiery nature. Zhang Yuochen watched the approaching long spear and nodded his head gently. Given Feng Zilin's current performance, he could match at least 4 normal warriors of the final state of the Black Realm at the same time. Zhang Yuochen took a step to the side, his body like a shadow, and dodged another powerful strike from Feng Zilin again. Feng Zilin was angry, and said, "If you are capable, then don't hide. Meet me properly in battle. If you can't even touch the corner of my clothing, what right do you have to battle me?" Zhang Yuochen held his sword in the hand and said lightly, "Show me all you have, let me see if you have the right to face my sword." "Bastard!" Feng Zilin let out a long whistle, and wisps of red spiritual blood flowed from his body. The spiritual blood flowed towards the ground and created a blood wave with a diameter of 5 meters. The spiritual blood was like threads of silk, coming together to form lines, emitting a light blood light, and enveloped Feng Zilin in its center. Spiritual blood becoming a matrix. Only warriors who have reached the final state of the Black Realm could achieve it. Further, the blood matrix that Feng Zilin conjured was not a low-class one. Rather, it was a medium level. The higher level of the blood matrix, the larger the increase in the power of the warrior. Red flame spear. Feng Zilin held his long spear horizontally and moved his arm back and forth. The fire on the surface of the long spear burned even hotter. This was a low-class spiritual spear martial technique. There were a total of 8 moves, and Feng Zilin had practiced them all successfully. Whoosh! The long spear struck out, creating a patch of fiery clouds. In a flash, it was in front of Zhang Yuochen. With the aid of the blood wave, Feng Zilin's the speed of the eruption was roughly the same of Zhang Yuochen's. Zhang Yuochen's eyes became serious. He held his long spear tightly in the hands and swiped across, hitting the tip of the long spear and knocking it aside. This also prevented Feng Zilin's following attacks. After that, he took quick steps towards Feng Zilin and stabbed towards his right armpit. Feng Zilin's face changed, immediately turned the rifle, with the tail of the long spear to the back of Zhang Yuochen. Zhang Yuochen had only just rushed to the front of Feng Zilin when he felt as if he had jumped into a quagmire. His speed reduced significantly. Looking down, he found that he had stepped into the blood wave and his speed was being repressed by the power of the wave. At that moment, the wind blew past Zhang Yuochen's ears. The butt of the long spear was hovering above his head and it could come down in a flash. Even if he didn't die, he would sustain heavy injuries when he was hit by the long spear. Sacred Bell Sword. Zhang Yuochen burst out all the genuine qi in his body, forming a large illusion of a bell, and protected his body in its center. The butt of the long spear landed on the surface of the illusory image of the bell sword, creating a strong collision. Boom! They retreated at the same time, once again putting 10 meters between them. Feng Zilin straightened with the long spear, laughed coldly and said, "I can conjure up a medium-class blood wave. The power of the matrix can improve my strength while repressing yours. Zhang Yuochen, you're dead for sure." The blood matrix was similar to space domain, but it could not compare to the space domain. The reason why a warrior of the final state was so much stronger than one in the medium state was that a warrior of the final state could conjure a blood wave. Under the repressive power of the blood matrix, very few medium state warriors could defeat one of the final state. Feng Zilin can already condense a medium-sized bloody wave. That is incredible. If he could be given large amounts of practice resources, he might allow the Western Campus to have another member in the Warrior of Division Profound. Elder Situ stroked his beard gently, revealing a knowing smile. Elder Xi scoffed coldly and did not speak further. It's over. Who thought Feng Xilin could conjure a medium-class bloody wave? With the power of the blood wave, he can match 6 or 7 warriors of the same realm. The 9th prince is in trouble. Liu Chengfeng sighed. Is a medium-class bloody wave very strong? A freshman asked. Liu Chengfeng replied, for every 10 warriors of the final state of the Black Realm, only one will be able to conjure a medium-sized bloody wave. Do you think it's strong or not? If Feng Xilin has opened enough meridians in his body, and his martial techniques and the exercises he practices are sufficiently high level, once he has reached the completion, he has a 10% chance of becoming one of the warriors of Division Profound. No one could say for sure that they could become a warrior of the Division Profound. They could only rely on their odds. A 10% chance was very low, but it wasn't bad. At least, he had an opportunity to try while other warriors would not have even that. Everyone became worried for Zhang Yuochen, hoping he would not be defeated. Once he was defeated, Feng Xilin would certainly not allow him to alive. Medium-sized bloody wave, not bad. Zhang Yuochen nodded his head gently. If Zhang Yuochen were to use his space domain, naturally he could also repress Feng Xilin and easily defeat him. However, Zhang Yuochen did not want to use the power of space domain. Feng Xilin saw that there was no fear on Zhang Yuochen's face. He scoffed coldly and attacked again. This time, he would be sure to pierce Zhang Yuochen's heart. Tch. As Feng Xilin's strike with his spear, the air burst into flames, letting out loud crackling sounds. Zhang Yuochen did not dodge. When the long spear was 3 meters from him, the fire on the spear bathed his face in a red light. Sacred Guiding Sword. The 4th move in the Sacred Sword skill. Zhang Yuochen's arm moved, and his spear drew a circle in the void space. It left 36 white streaks of sword shadow. The 36 streaks formed a circle, like a white moon being held in his hands. Swish. 36 streaks of sword shadow flew out at the same time. Feng Xilin defended quickly and continuously waved his long spear to shatter the sword key. But 7 streaks of sword breath made it through. 4 of them pierced his body, while the other 3 flew across the surface of his skin, leaving behind 3 shallow lines of blood. Bang, bang. The 4 streaks of sword breath left 4 holes in Feng Xilin's clothes. Beneath the holes the peaked pieces of metal armor. It seemed that Feng Xilin wore armor under his clothes, and it had blocked the 4 strikes just now. However, the 4 streaks of sword breath were very powerful. Although they were blocked by the armor, they still rattled Feng Xilin and caused him some light injuries. Such a powerful strike. If Feng Xilin had not been wearing armor, even if he didn't die just before, he would have been heavily wounded. Zhang Yuochen is so young. Why is his sword technique so advanced? Elder Xi narrowed his eyes. Suddenly, his face showed a great joy, and said, the advanced realm of the sword following the mind. A few other elders heard Elder Xi's words and they suddenly realized that he was right. The sword technique Zhang Yuochen just demonstrated had indeed reached the advanced realm of the sword following the mind. Unbelievable. It must be noted, this group of elders were all in the advanced realm of the sword following the mind, but no one had reached the peak. Juanmu Xingling was also surprised by this and found it unbelievable. She said, his achievements in sword techniques is terrifying. Once he has broken through to the completion of the Black Realm, he must become a warrior of Division Profound. Also, his ranking on the Profound board will not be low. Previously, she had only known that Zhang Yuochen had great achievements in palm techniques. She did not expect him to have higher achievements in sword techniques. With such attainments in sword techniques, it seems like Zhang Yuochen will win for sure. Juanmu Xingling smiled. She sent a gentle look towards Huang Yanchen and said, Sister Chen, you wouldn't want to kill and waste a prodigy like Zhang Yuochen, right? Huang Yanchen was also slightly moved. Given Zhang Yuochen's age, to be able to practice to the advanced realm of the sword following the mind, his talent was startling indeed. So what if he is talented? His character is too bad. Huang Yanchen stared at Juanmu Xingling and said, you're not wanting me to accept him, are you? Juanmu Xingling laughed and said, after all, You already have had those things happen. If you don't accept him, what else is there to do? Humphrey: even if I let him alive, I would still not accept him. Huang Yanjun said: Sister Chen, you remember what you said. If, in the future, I accidentally fall for him and steal him away, don't resent me. Juanmuk Singerling's a pair of large eyes curved, like two half-moons. Huang Yanjun stared carefully at Juanmuk Singerling, turning over the meaning of what she just said and asked, You can't seriously have fallen for him? Juanmuk Singerling straightened her back and stared at Zhang Yuochen on the platform of life and death. She smiled and said, He is young, handsome, talented, and a prince. I cannot find a single flaw in him. It is entirely possible I could accidentally fall for him. Huang Yanjun was a little unhappy and said, You're 2 years older than him, right? It's impossible to continue being sisters. Juanmuk Singerling looked at Huang Yanjun with annoyance and said, It seems you don't want to give him up. Huang Yanjun stared at Zhang Yuochen. There was no expression on her beautiful face. She asked thoughtfully, Singerling, do you think it's possible for him to become a saint? Saint? Juanmuk Singerling's gaze also became serious. She nodded her head and said, Saints are beyond the realm of warriors. They have crossed into another form of living. In all the 36 commanderies in Oman Ridge, there is not even one saint. Although he is very talented, it would be almost impossible for him to become a saint. After a pause, Juanmuk Singerling continued, Although, I feel that if he can maintain his current state in practicing, and maintain it until he reaches the heaven realm, he has a chance to become a half-saint. Half-saint? Do you think he can? Huang Yanjun's beautiful eyes carried a complicated gaze. She always felt she could not see through Zhang Yuochen. This young man, although his cultivation was not at her level, has demonstrated terrifying potential.